from the pain and made it out of Banner. Drove and see the nightlife where they call Atlanta. Southside shows for a couple dollars, yeah, yeah.
Holy shit, it happened. Holy shit, we're back. Who's back the week? The Brew Party podcast. It has been over a year since the last episode that also happened to be about March Madness. There's just something about March that gets me going, gets me wanting to start yelling into this microphone. Again, it's me, Andy Hopper here. Welcome in to the Brew Party podcast. I don't even remember what episode it is, the number. It doesn't matter. It's March Madness, Brew Party 2023, March Madness special, featuring my good friend. There's only one person I could think of to bring on this show. It's only right. Good friend of the program, OG guest of the program, Grant Baker joins me. We're going to be talking March. We're going to be talking about our brackets. We're going to be talking about our bets for the first round and a few other things in between. Gee, baby, how are we feeling, my friend?
Feeling well. I had to wear my Summit League March sweatshirt today. I'm sure we'll get into my Summit League brothers, Oral Roberts, as the show goes on.
Absolutely. Mid-major aficionado, Grant Baker, definitely our mid-major guy here on the podcast. So welcome back. It's been quite a bit in the year that I've been gone. I'm still chugging along. I'm working at the dealership selling cars. I now have a 3-year-old, which is fucking wild, and a 10-month-old. So it's been a lot. The kids are growing up. I'm doing good. Kaylin's doing good. Brew's still kicking. So that's always good when the namesake for the podcast is still around. But we're back, baby. Looking to get more into a regular schedule for the podcast. So look out for new episodes every week. You can find that wherever you get your podcasts, Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, or www.brewparty.com, thebrewparty.com, excuse me. Been a while. Follow us on YouTube, subscribe to the YouTube, like this video, share it with a friend, comment, tell us who you're riding with for March Madness, The Brew Party on YouTube, youtube.com/The Brew Party. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram at The Brew Party, and on Facebook at The Brew Party. We're on the talk as well, ladies and gentlemen. Follow us on TikTok at The Brew Party. Looking out for just more content everywhere. 2023 is the year of the party, and we are doing it big once again. All right, Grant, let's jump right into this shit. So let's just it's March. It's like my favorite time of the year as far as sports goes. There's really nothing like this first weekend of March Madness, just wall-to-wall basketball, starting in the morning and going all the way. It's 11 to 11 pretty much. What's your favorite part about March? I mean, obviously, besides gambling responsibly.
My favorite part is working from home. So then, I can multitask. Much easier to do that. As you mentioned at the start of the show, I love mid-major basketball. So it's really hard for good mid-major teams to schedule quality Power 5 opponents in the non-conference because the quality Power 5 opponents don't want to schedule good mid-majors. So it's this time of year, they finally get them on a neutral court, neutral officials, and little brother gets their shot at the big dog. And that's just the best. There's nothing like it.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree more. It's just, and then this year, more so than past years, it feels way more wide open, where maybe we see some of these mid majors make deep runs like we've seen in past years.
There weren't as many, sorry to interrupt, there weren't as many bid stealers in this conference tournament cycle as well. There were a couple low major conferences where the 2 seed ended up winning in their conference tournament, but not really any crazy bid stealers. So you're getting the cream of the crop low major and mid major teams this year.
Absolutely. So I guess let's take a look, overview of the bracket. Houston, Alabama, Purdue, Kansas are the 1 seeds. Any problems at the top for you?
I don't think so. We can get into what my hopeful second round matchup is for Houston.
Yeah.
With my beloved Hawkeyes, but no, I don't think all the 1 seeds are pretty cut and dry. They're all really, really solid this year. No glaring flaws like that Virginia team from a few years back who ended up getting upset. We all knew what their problems were and it bit them. None of these 1 seeds have any real issues. Houston could get a little healthier with Sasser being out, but they shouldn't have a problem in the first 2 rounds, most likely.
Of those 4, which 1 seed loses first?
I would probably say Purdue. Because I think it comes down to how Edey is officiated. I know you're an Illini guy, and there were a lot of Illini fans who were frustrated at how Kofi was officiated. They kind of wished he was officiated like Edey. Big Ten's real physical, and they don't call too many of those like offensive hooks, which Edey loves to do.
Of course.
So if he gets in foul trouble, they don't give him the calls that he's been getting this year. I'm not going to say Purdue's a one-trick pony. They're not. They got plenty of players around Edey. But if he's not on the floor, then I think that opens up Purdue to an early round exit. And Purdue is notorious for early round exits.
It'd be incredibly on brand for Painter and the Boilermakers. All right, let's move on here because we watched Selection Sunday together. We were kind of going through it real time and thinking like, oh, wow, this team's here. This team's here. Anybody underseeded in your mind? Like, who is better than their seed?
I think Texas A&M is underseeded. A lot of people have been saying that. They had I think they were 22-11, I want to say. I could be a game or 2 off there. Really strong year. They finished ahead of Kentucky in the SEC standings. Kentucky gets a 6. A&M gets a 7. I don't quite understand that. The conspiracy theory brain in me thinks that the selection committee wanted the Providence-Kentucky matchup for the storyline there with the Providence transfer coming in from Kentucky. And then also A&M being a 7 seed sets them up very well to play Texas in the round of 32. A great college rivalry matchup that we don't get to see anymore with all the conference realignment, which is a shame. So like I said, the conspiracy theory head of me is thinking they underseeded A&M to set them up perfectly for the second round matchup versus Texas.
I love it. I love the conspiracy theories. Give me all of those. And I absolutely believe that Kentucky got the preference there. Like A&M was in second place in the SEC like the entire year.
Yeah, it's crazy. The other team I feel that's underseeded, very, very biased. I spent 2 years in the Summit League in Macomb. Oral Roberts by no means should be a 12 seed. Based on AP voting, they were the first team out of the AP top 25. So just simple math times tables. There's four seeds, right? So what's that? The top of all the 5 seeds in theory should be ranked, and a handful of the 6 seeds. Now, based on the strength of schedule, I'm not asking for Oral Roberts to be a 5 or a 6 seed, but no way should they be a 12 seed. And they're playing the hottest 5 seed in Duke. So I guess that's the other side of the coin. They do get a shot, Oral Roberts does, in this 5-12 game at a blue blood program, and they get a shot at the king. But I don't think that Oral Roberts should be a 12 seed. I think they're very, very underseeded. I think they should probably be in an 8-9 game.
Dude, they've won 30 games. They're 30-4.
And they went undefeated in league play, and that conference tournament is in South Dakota. So you're going to have to essentially play as the 1 seed, Oral Roberts coming from Tulsa, Oklahoma. You're going to have to win 3 road games against multiple Dakota schools to win your conference tournament in a one bid league. And they did that. And that's really, really impressive. They're hot right now. And it's kind of an inside joke with you and me and some of our friends. I always say you need great guard play to win in March. Oral Roberts has that in spades, maybe one of the most electric players in this field.
Yeah, I mean, you have Max Asmus, and then the school is called Oral. Like, what else can you ask for?
The jokes write themselves.
Before we jump into some more mid-majors, because I know you have a lot on that stuff, who got fucked? And I think we're going to start here with your Hawkeyes, because they are playing Auburn in Birmingham.
As a higher seed, I don't understand why you're making them play a road game. It makes no sense. What I'm really, really hoping for is the Alabama fans come to Birmingham and cheer for Iowa. So we have not true black and gold folks, but people, it's like the enemy of my enemy is my friend. And they hate Auburn so much that they'll cheer just as loud as the Iowa faithful will. But yeah, they got absolutely hosed. I know Des Moines is a host site. I'm not asking for Iowa to play in Des Moines. They didn't deserve that.
Mm-hmm.
But Auburn didn't deserve to play in Birmingham. So Iowa got screwed. And then I think we can all agree that Rutgers got hosed.
Absolutely.
Hosed.
Despite the fact that they just got beat by Hofstra at home in the first round of the NIT. But this is something you and I talked about. It's just tough to get up for that game when you really feel like you should have made the tournament. We were talking about this selection Sunday. What was Rutgers? Their net ranking was 40. And
based on all the advanced metrics, the quad one wins, and the committee throws out whatever bullshit that they're going to grade teams on this year. And then Pitt gets in as a net 67 with a worse record in a worse conference. The ACC was very, very down this year. Conference champion Duke is a 5 seed. If that tells you anything about the ACC, preseason number 1 Carolina didn't even make the field. So the ACC is way down, and you reward a Pitt team who's 27 spots below Rutgers, who had some quality wins. Northwestern on the road, Purdue on the road. They had really, really quality wins, and they just were not rewarded for it.
Yeah, that was tough to see. And then, but kind of jumping back a little bit, let's say Auburn does beat Iowa in the first round, almost guaranteed Houston here. I guess I can't guarantee a win for Houston, but historically the ones over the 16s is automatic.
I'm going to go on the record right now and guarantee a Houston win in round 1.
Yeah. That's bold of you. That's
Brew
bold.
Party exclusive.
Yeah, that's an exclusive here. Take the money line. So, and then there's an argument there. You're a 1 seed Houston playing a 9 seed in that seed's home state. Like that's not. I don't like that either. I know Houston's not necessarily that far from Birmingham, but it's not fucking Auburn. You know what I mean? Like
Bruce Pearl's up to his old tricks, and I don't like it one bit.
Fuck that guy. Fuck that guy. That's all I can say. So we kind of teased it a little bit, Grant. Other than Oral Roberts, what are the mid-majors that we really need to be looking out for in this tournament?
I'm going to try to stay away from the chalky picks. Everyone's going to talk about Oral Roberts, which I just did. A lot of people are on Charleston as well. They're a 31-win team. I think they're going to be a popular mid-major Cinderella darling. I'm going to give you kind of an off-the-wall one. I like Montana State round 1 against Kansas State in a 14-3 matchup. Montana State, this is their second year in a row that they'll be dancing. So they have experienced players. They've been here before. They've done that. So they're ready. Kansas State, first-year head coach Jerome Tang. He's done an awesome job in Manhattan, Kansas this year. But it is his first year as a head coach. So he's unproven in March. So it's kind of uncharted waters for Kansas State right now and Coach Tang. Montana State returns 3 of their top 5 scorers from last year. They got seniors. So I think they have the ingredients to be, upset in round 1.
Absolutely.
A lot of the same criteria for my mid-major team number 2 is Iona, the Gales out of the MAAC, the MAAC conference. They have UConn round 1. So it's a regional team. So all these Iona kids who Rick Pitino recruited, they feel slighted that the big dogs weren't after them, that UConn didn't recruit them. So they got their shot at a big time program. And Rick Pitino, make all the jokes you want about him. He always finds his way in the headlines. But if I could pick a coach to win one game, it's probably going to be Rick Pitino. He's an unbelievable coach. He's going to have those guys ready. They won the MAC last year, regular season, and then were upset by St. Peter's, who went on their run. So that league is proven. They've had recent success in the tournament. They also returned, just like Montana State, 3 of their 5 scorers from the year prior. And they're just a really, really gritty team, well coached, and they return a lot of pieces from a conference champion team the year prior. I have Iona, for what it's worth, going to the Sweet 16.
Is that so what are they, 13?
They're 13. They're 13. Yep.
Is that the highest seed you have in the Sweet 16? Because that was going to be one of my next questions of your mid majors, or I guess, yeah, who do you see making the longest run?
I have both Oral Roberts is a 12 in the Sweet 16, and then Iona in the Sweet 16 as well. After that, it's nothing crazy. I do have Kentucky in the Sweet 16 as a 6, because based on the bracket, they would end up playing Montana State round 2. Mm-hmm. And I think Montana State, their run stops there after the K-State win.
Absolutely. And okay, so this is one we talked about Selection Sunday. I like Kent State over Indiana.
So do I. Give me your rationale, and then I can kind of elaborate on why I like Kent State, besides my MAC bias.
Obviously, you are, again, like I said, mid-major. You spent some time in the MAC. Funcie's own Grant Baker. My rationale here is it's kind of what we talked about on Sunday, and it's similar to what you just talked about with Iona. These are kids from the Indiana, Ohio area that, again, they feel like they were slighted, or feel like they were overlooked, and they're at Kent State. This is a team that's won 28 games, and kind of comes down to me not really trusting Indiana. I know they have Trace Jackson Davis. Jalen Hood-Schifino is an NBA guy. He has been great for them, but my mind just goes back to them getting absolutely boat raced by, what was it, St. Mary's last year?
I believe so, yes.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't trust them. I'm taking Kent State over them. I mean, I guess that's a preview into my picks, but that's what I have to say about the mid majors. So let's go to speaking of that, let's go to upset alert. What teams do you have on upset alert? Who is the most likely you think to go down in the first weekend? Or, well, I guess let's go round 1.
I can kind of elaborate too on Kent State, Indiana. They returned 2 of their top 3 scorers, and their third leading scorer is actually a Ball State transfer, so he's been in the MAC. And Kent State, Rob Senderoff, they play so hard. Like, I mean, when I was at Ball State, when I was at Western, Kent State is one of the hardest playing teams I've ever watched on film and seen them in person. And like you said, they're junkyard dogs. They got a shot at a team who they felt maybe should recruit them because it's, similar region. They just play really, really hard. And I think they could surprise Indiana with how quick and how athletic they are. I also like Drake in a 12-5 upset over Miami. I would say I don't have a lock, an upset lock, but I do think in those 2 games, because they're right next to each other in the bracket, Drake, Miami, and or Indiana, Kent State, I think an upset is going to happen from one of those 2 games. Potentially both, but I think for sure at least one of them.
I love it. I'm looking at it now. I can absolutely see it. And I could see both. I won't be shocked if it's both. I won't be shocked if it's one. I do like Miami in the Drake game, but again, I'm often wrong. So we'll see.
The other thing that's bullshit is they put all 3 Iowa teams in the same bracket. How are Drake, Iowa, and Iowa State all in the same bracket?
Oh, fuck. I didn't even notice that.
Anyway, yeah.
I didn't even. Well, and then you got 2 Texas teams in that same bracket too. I like Providence. There's been a couple times I've bet them this year and they've completely let me down, but it is completely Bryce Hopkins revenge game for me. And I've got a couple when we get to our picks, I'll have something I'll run by you here as well regarding that. But I'd say Providence. I like Oral Roberts. I know UCSB's been a trendy pick. I don't know. I'm going to take Baylor there. I would not be shocked if Charleston won. This is one thing we talk about that we talked about on Sunday, putting 2 mid-majors together like that in a 5-12. I don't like it.
I gave a senior thesis when I was at Ball State on why mid-majors get screwed. And almost every single time they'll pair up at least 2, sometimes 3 or 4 games a year. Well, they'll pair up a mid-major with a mid-major. So they paired up VCU St. Mary's again this year, and they paired up Charleston and San Diego State this year. They do it. I don't want to bore everyone with statistics and numbers, but they do it to keep mid-majors away from beating the big dogs because it's geared and rigged towards the Power 5 teams, and they don't want little brother upsetting big brother time and time and time and time again. And if you pair up mid-majors with mid-majors, you can still have that Cinderella story because the mid-major will just be beating other mid-majors on their way to the Sweet 16. But anyway, I digress.
Gonzaga Grand Canyon, technically a mid-major game. I know Gonzaga's, their pedigree of that program, but they are in the WCC. So let's move on. What are your must-watch games of the first weekend? Like, what really jumps out at you? Obviously, you're going to be living and dying with the Hawkeyes. I'm going to be living and dying with Illinois and their matchup with Arkansas. But any other games that you're really looking forward to watching?
Yeah, there are. I was really, really high on Creighton to start the year, and I think they've underachieved a little bit. But I think they're still a supremely talented team. They're a 6th seed. They have NC State in round 1. I think Creighton has all the ingredients to make an Elite 8 run. And once you get that far, I mean, look out, it's anybody's guess as to what's going to happen. But I think Creighton NC State is a really intriguing matchup, round 1 for me. And then after that, all the 8-9 games should be really, really good. You have Maryland, West Virginia, Iowa, Auburn, Illinois, Arkansas, and then another kind of mid-major versus mid-major with FAU and Memphis.
Was just looking at that.
So I think all the 8-9 games are coin flips. But outside of that, the Creighton-NC State matchup really, really intrigues me.
Yeah, I like that a lot. Florida Atlantic, another mid-major team, 31-3. They have just looked unstoppable at times this year. But again, you look at their strength of schedule and you can kind of see why. But they've got one more win than Oral Roberts. They're a 9, but Oral Roberts is a 12.
Again, in the strength of schedule, yeah, the conference isn't as rigorous as the Power 5. So that's not what I'm trying to argue, but it's so tough for these good mid-majors to have a good strength of schedule because no Power 5 is going to want to play them.
Right.
So take it with a grain of salt, I guess.
So I think what I'm looking forward to most, I think Penn State's going to give Texas A&M a hell of a game. I know Penn State just had a hell of a run in the Big Ten tournament. That, hopefully Shrewsbury has given the guys time to rest and kind of recharge because it is tough playing that many games in that many days. But if they can get hot and shoot from 3, the way they've shown they're able to at times with Pickett running that offense, you talk about good guard play in the tournament, they've got it. And they have Andrew Funk that just is seemingly automatic. Seth Lundy can get very hot. Cam Winter got hot at the end of the year. I like Penn State potentially to make a run. I don't know. Most likely would have to face off against Texas in the second round, so that would be a tough game. But I guess I at least like Penn State over Texas A&M. That's going to be one I'm watching for sure. I'm going to watch Oral Roberts Duke. Just because I love Duke tears. I would love to see them lose. What else? I think Vermont Marquette could be a sneaky good game as well. Vermont's had a hell of a run in their conference. It's been an absolute dynasty.
Yeah, they win the America East every single year.
It's just like nobody else. And then I think Charleston, San Diego State, and then Virginia Furman. A lot of people are talking up Furman. Like they're going to be a tough matchup for Virginia. I'd be interested to see that. I mean, I'm going to try to watch every game. Obviously, I know a bunch of them are during the day, but that's what you bring the laptop to work for. Furman's a solid team. The past couple years, I think they've been the regular season champ, and they've just gotten upset in the conference tournament. Before we move on, one more game that no one on TV is talking about. I don't think that it'll have Sweet 16 or Elite 8 implications,
because I think both these teams will get bounced. But just on pure entertainment value of teams trading punches back and forth, I think Boise State Northwestern is going to be a knockdown, drag-out slugfest from start to finish. I'm going to be tuned into that game. I think that's going to be a really, really entertaining game. Boise State, all 5 starters average double figures. So they can play. They're really balanced. Boise starts 3 seniors, a junior, and a sophomore. So they're experienced. Northwestern, I mean, we watch Big Ten basketball every night, basically. So they've kind of come out of nowhere, especially after losing Nance. But Boo Buie is an all-time March Madness name. So it's only a matter of time before he hits a couple of big shots. But I think Northwestern, Boise, like I said, not Sweet 16 or Elite 8 implications, in my opinion, but just for a one-game entertainment value, I think those are 2 really, really even teams.
I like that a lot. I just hope you just hope for drama. You hope for good games. You don't want a lot of blowouts. I want to see buzzer beaters. You want the Cinderella story, like who's going to take over. Let's do this. Let's do our final 4 predictions. Give me your final 4, and then let's get into our picks for the first round.
Final 4, I have Arizona and Purdue in the Final 4, and I'm holding my nose as I said Purdue out loud because I know they choke every single year. And then on the other side of the bracket, I got 2 3 seeds. I have Xavier and Gonzaga on the other side of the bracket. My championship game, I have Arizona versus Gonzaga. I pick Gonzaga every year because I want them to win. I also think there's a neat storyline there. Arizona's coach coming from Gonzaga a few years back.
Would.
And then, I got Gonzaga winning in a barn burner as the national champ.
All right, so my final 4, I have Bama, Marquette, Texas, and UCLA.
Okay.
And then I have Texas over Bama in the title game. I think Texas and Bama are the 2 hottest teams in college basketball right now, or at least what I saw from their performances in their conference tournament. Just really looking dominant in 2 of the better leagues in college basketball as far as the Big 12 and the SEC. I know the SEC down this year a little bit, but still, I think Bama's been far and away the best team. They have one of the best players in college basketball, even though I don't know if he should really be playing in Brandon Miller.
You are throwing morals and ethics completely out the window with both of those teams.
I know I am. Well, the other fucking Beard just got hired at Ole Miss. So charges were dropped. Yeah, but I've never claimed to be a good guy. And you can definitely tell it by my 2 picks in the
I'm not picking choir boys. I'm picking winners
in the national championship game. So those are our picks for the Final 4. We'll follow along, and hopefully maybe we do some follow-up episode for the second weekend and stuff like that with some more picks for the people. But let's get into it. Let's get into some of our picks for round 1. Before we get into our actual picks, I've got a couple strategies that I've heard of that I've kind of want to pick your brain on. Well, actually, let me ask you this first. Do you have any specific strategies, any specific things you'd like to do as far betting wise tournament time, like different props or different weird things? We like to call it a system play. Grant, you
I do. I have one system play that jumps off the page to me. Some people have been saying Kentucky Providence is a coin flip, and they're probably right. I have Kentucky winning just based off they got upset last year, first round by St. Peter's. I don't think Kentucky gets beat in the first round back-to-back years. So I cannot give you in-depth statistics on either team, but I just think that's straight system play. I don't think they get upset round 1 back-to-back years. So I'm blindfolded. I'm going to take Kentucky blindly round 1, and that's the system play for me that jumps off the page.
So one thing I saw, this guy on TikTok says every year he bets every underdog money line. I think it's either 10 through 15 or 12 through 15 or something. And he goes, I go in or it might even be like 9 through 16. He's like, I go in knowing that the majority of them are not going to hit, but it always seems to come out plus money. And I kind of want to try it. Like, just because, there are going to be some of them, they're going to be, anywhere from plus 100, plus 190 to, could be 450, 500, something like that.
There was one I had circled. I think I haven't checked the line yet tonight, but I'll probably do it before tip. If you can get, USC money line against Michigan State, I think there's great value there.
I love it. And another one I saw is just blindly betting first half unders. Jitters, nervousness from the first round of the tournament game. I kind of want to try that too.
I could see that, especially you get some of these smaller schools who don't play in big arenas. They have on-campus host sites. So that depth perception is real. And I know they have a shoot around and a practice, the day before, but it's only one day. I mean, they're not used to it like the big dogs are. So that's a solid play as well.
Similar to that it's another fun one that kind of really makes me feel like a degenerate, but you can do like race to 10 or race to 15. Just take whatever the underdog is. It kind of, and similar to the same thing. And my thought for taking the underdog there would be, they could potentially come to this game looser. They really have nothing to lose. Nobody expects them to win, kind of start out. And, sometimes we do see that, you get on the edge of your seat, like they're up by 5 right now. They really have no business being in this game. That's kind of something fun to do for the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes of the game or whatever, however long it takes them to get there.
Yeah, you look at Oral Roberts, and if Duke goes under the first 2 screens on Max Asmus, that's 2 threes, bang, bang, 6 points. You're in a really great spot there.
You're fucking feeling amazing about that. But yeah, let's dive into some games that we're really looking at here. Mine are mostly underdogs, where I'm going to be taking the points and then maybe sprinkling a little bit on the money line. But I'll actually let you go first. Fire away. Hit me with some of your best bets, what you really think you're going to be playing on Thursday and Friday.
So I always wait to put in like the spread bet until like right before tip, but just shooting from the hip right now, I'll give you kind of my 4 favorite bets. I like Creighton to cover the spread against NC State. I don't want to give out what the spread is now because the line could change between now and tip, but Creighton to cover against NC State. I like Utah State to cover against Missouri. The Mountain West was 0-5 last year in March Madness, so I think they're due for a couple wins, which is why I'm taking Utah State there. So I guess that's another system play. Excuse me. Taking Texas A&M to cover against Penn State, so that's me and you differ right there. Mm-hmm. And then the last one that I'm taking is I'm going to take USC money line against Michigan State. Those are kind of my 4 favorites that I might go 2 or 3 units on rather than just, your typical 1 unit.
Well play. So
yeah, my unit should move the line. Vegas takes notice of the Sharps.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, what's it like? So a couple things I'm looking at. Kent State plus 4.5. I also like the money line at plus 162. Oral Roberts plus 5.5. Sprinkle a little bit on the money line at plus 210. This is something I want to run by you here. It's a prop. Asmus over 21.5 points, minus 122. He's averaging 22.7 for the year. He's covered 21.5 in 2 out of his last 3 games.
Can you adjust it? He legit might go off for 40.
I have not looked. So I just looked at I haven't looked to see if they have alternate, but if they have alternate points, I'd absolutely. I mean, I'm a plus sign prince, dude. I'm always hunting for the plus signs.
Addicted to the plus sign.
Yeah, I'm addicted to the plus sign for sure. So that seems like a must bet there over 21.5. Providence plus 4.5. Sprinkle the money line at plus 146. Bryce Hopkins revenge game. Similar here. Bryce Hopkins points prop over 15.5 at plus 102.
He's going to take 15.5 shots before the first media timeout.
Yeah. Hammer it, ladies and gentlemen. I love that. He's averaging 16.1 points per game for the year. He's covered 15.5 in 3 out of his last 5. And then before that, he did it like 4 games in a row. Rebounds might be worth a look here as well, folks. I did not look at what the number is, but he is averaging 8+ per game.
The thing I like about that bet too is Hopkins' teammates, they know the storyline. So if Hopkins gets 2 or 3 shots to drop, they are going to be feeding him.
I love it. I am all over it. I'm all over it. All over it. Next, I'm going to go. I like Maryland money line plus 116. That is a little bit of Big Ten bias there, but I do think it's just going to be a really good game. I think they match up really well with West Virginia.
Now, if West Virginia was plus 116, would you take West Virginia?
I very well could. So, I mean, that's my logic here.
That's just straight. That's a coin flip game. Give me the plus money.
Yeah, absolutely. Mizzou money line plus 105. I will take the higher seed, the lower seed, if they're whatever, the higher seed. Yes. Mizzou's the 7, Utah State's the 10. I like them money line. I'm just going to, again, it's value. I'm going to take the higher seed plus money. Charleston plus 4.5. I think money line plus 168 is worth a look. I think they keep it close. Again, we mentioned it earlier. This is a team that won 31 games this year. They're going up against another mid-major as well. Penn State money line plus 126. Again, a little bit of recency bias here with the run they just made in the Big Ten tournament, and then just how they've just absolutely owned Illinois 3 times this year. That definitely is weighing in my brain for sure. Plus, I was with you, Grant, when I hit that plus 7.5. I had that boosted for plus money too. Shout out FanDuel for that one.
Good teams win, great teams cover.
You're fucking damn right they do. Vermont plus 10.5. I like them to keep it close. I think they're a good team. I think that's a lot of points. Miami minus 1.5. I know you talked about Drake earlier, and you like
that's
them.
A tight game. 1.5. That's a tight game.
I don't know. Miami. Again, we talked about the ACC being down, and sometimes I'm sure, I don't know if you do this, but one team will come through for you one time or a couple times in a row, and then you're just like, they haven't let me down yet, so let me dive back into that well. And I don't know, I like it. I'm not going to pretend to know a bunch about Drake either, but anytime you see like a high major at 1.5 against a team out of the Missouri Valley, I'm going to take it. What else did I have here? Oh, my last one that I think was worth a look. FAU money line plus 102. Similar to the Charleston thing, this is a mid-major team with 30+ wins, and like Oral Roberts, I'm going to take my chance on them. I like it. One thing, my last thing here before we go. Did you see the video of the Fairleigh Dickinson head coach in the locker room after the win?
I didn't
tonight?
see it. I was driving back from Indianapolis. I haven't been on Twitter or nothing. I pulled in the driveway and I hopped on this call.
You're a guy that has been around college basketball. It's a video of him in the locker room. Obviously, they're very hyped. They just really beat the shit out of Texas Southern. They will be playing Purdue.
They covered for me as well. Fairleigh Dickinson plus 2.5. Shout out.
The more I watch Purdue, the more I think we can beat them. Those are the words of
the coach. Said that.
The coach said that.
That is insane.
It is on video. That is now viral. That is we're going to get beat by 30 if I've ever seen it before.
Yeah, I'm going to adjust the line to as far as it can go for Purdue.
Yeah, take Purdue money line. And then again, I'd love to see Fairleigh Dickinson win, but you can't say that.
You know what I think I might do? I might adjust the line to however far it can go for Purdue, and then hedge it with the Fairleigh Dickinson money line. Because if Fairleigh Dickinson covers, they win.
Oh, I love it. It's
going to be Purdue minus 44.5.
Yeah.
At like plus 200. And then I'm going to take Fairleigh Dickinson plus 3,500 money line.
I mean, Grant, you're a coach. Like, like there's something to be said about saying some stuff to hype your guys up. And the guy, like the team was hype. I get it. You gotta motivate your team however you can. But, whew.
No, you say that behind like closed doors.
You
don't
say that
to like CBS.
Well, he didn't say it he didn't say it in an interview. It was like them in the locker room, but there was clearly a bunch of cameras and shit.
I see what you mean.
So it's like a little bit more of a gray area there because I'm sure he's not focusing on the cameras, but he was like looking around. Like, go watch the video if you haven't seen it already. It's on Twitter.
What you mean.
Still
it's tough. That's tough.
It's still tough. I still lean Purdue there as much as I'd love.
As a 16 seed, it's really hard to give the 1 seed bulletin board material, and you just did it.
Yeah. Like, what else does Matt Painter need to show him? Like, these motherfuckers say, okay, Edie's gonna have fucking 35 and 15, and we're gonna call it a day. But we're gonna call this episode a day. We're back, ladies and gentlemen. This is the Brew Party podcast. I thank you for joining us. I thank Grant for joining us. It's March, ladies and gentlemen. March Madness. Cue the future. Let's go. I'm so excited for it. What's your score prediction for Iowa Auburn, Grant?
Hawks by 1,000,000, Andy.
Knew that was coming. INI go beat Arkansas. It's hilarious. They're like really similar teams, super high expectations this year. Didn't
Can
really
I tell you
live
what's
up
going to
to
happen?
them.
I'm going to tell you what's going to happen in that game. Arkansas is going to beat the brakes off Illinois.
Yeah.
I just want you to know that.
I'm not going to refute that as much as I hope that does not happen. Arkansas has 2 projected top 10 picks in the draft.
You got Cole and Hawkins. So it's fine.
We have Cole, Hawk, and Meyer and TSJ. So either way,
he's going to be steady. He's going to be really consistent. He's going to be great.
Well, Bruce Pearl's going to fucking pay off the refs, and then Fran's going to fucking have an aneurysm yelling at somebody.
Oh, he's the best.
And then I think you mean the worst.
I forgot Underwood never yells at anybody. He's always calm on the sidelines.
He's a class act. He's a class act.
Yeah, I forgot. He's cool.
He would never do that.
He doesn't freak out like Fran.
No,
he doesn't do that.
I love it. We talked about it. The video of Fran just staring at the ref, not saying anything to his team in timeout is all time for sure. I mean, it's the Big Ten, Grant. You can't not get fired up. But this is the Brew Party podcast. We thank you once again for joining us. www.thebrewparty.com for all of our episodes, links to our social media. Speaking of social media, we are at the Brew Party on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, at the Brew Party podcast on Facebook. Find us on YouTube, like this video, subscribe, comment, tell us who you're rooting for in March Madness. We are youtube.com/the Brew Party. Tell a friend who tells a friend. Also, check out Edging the Truth. We talked about some conspiracy theories and how we've got our tinfoil hats on about Kentucky being seeded over Texas A&M. Check out Edging the Truth, another podcast I'm a part of, edgingthetruth.com. For Grant Baker, I'm Andy Hopper. This is the Brew Party. Stay tuned. Big things coming. 2023, the year of the party. And if I have to root for Auburn because Grant just pissed me off so bad.
Hawks by 1,000,000.
Yeah, this is just unfortunate. But thank you for being here. Stay tuned for more.